meeting to order. Agenda date, time, and location were properly announced. Thank you for coming tonight and our new space, which is exciting. Might be a little off. Change is a little difficult. You guys been going through it, but
Yeah, welcome to
haven't.
our world. Here it is. This is a Tuesday for us now.
Okay, so tonight, we have to redo some things, take the oath of office, so that'll be our first thing. So that would be, Amy and Katie and me. And so who's doing it? That leaves,
Chuck has the piece of paper.
Chuck, you're the man.
Oh,
All
I
right.
get to swear? I mean, swear you?
Yeah.
Yes, you
You
do.
can do both.
Where's the camera? Where's the best place to do it? You want to do it from the front or just stand where we're at?
Right where you're at.
Right.
Forgot how to do this.
Where do you want us, where we're at?
Right where you're at.
Okay. I don't know, I'm gonna meet casters.
Yeah, I think so.
You read to us? I read to you.
You read to us and then we'll try to repeat back what you're saying. Luckily, we got some
Do we have to do
paper.
it for each position
Oh,
or
we
just
can
at
do
four
it
times?
together. Yep.
Okay. I, the undersigned, having been elected to the Board of Education of the School District of Random Lake, swear that I will.
Stop.
Oh, you have to fall.
At the end of Random Lake, give us a minute to repeat. This is your first time, I know.
It's my first swearing in for you guys. Please repeat after me.
Okay. I, Gina Schneider. We can go ahead. Okay. Go ahead.
I, Amy Wilson,
Having been
elected
elected
to
to the Board of Education of the School District of Random Lake,
Swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States
swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Wisconsin,
and the Constitution of the State of Wisconsin,
and will faithfully and impartially discharge the duties of said office
and will faithfully and impartially discharge the duties of said office
to the best of my ability, so help me God.
to the best of my ability, so help me God. Good job. Thank you.
Thanks for being back on board.
Okay. All right, great. Then we have to do the election of the officers. And our current officers are, let's see, Chuck is treasurer, Katie is vice president, Amy is clerk, and I am president. So we have to do these separately, and we have to open nominations for each one, then close nominations, and then we'll do our voting. Kim has it set up as with colored sheets. So we'll start off with president. We'll open nominations. Are there any nominations for president?
I nominate you.
Thank you, Rini. Any other nominations?
I'll second that nomination.
Thank you. And I think we have to do one more time. Any other nominations?
I'll third them.
Thank you. Okay, we can close nominations. And do we have to do
Vote, yeah.
we just vote on here. We don't have to do a,
Vote on there and then.
okay. I didn't know if I had to say anything. How many years have I been doing this? You know,
But you do it once a year.
yeah.
Oh,
so I don't get out.
I think you have the proper.
Seven votes for Gina.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we will open nominations for vice president. Are there any nominations for vice president? Okay. Are there any other nominations for vice president? One more time, any other nominations for vice president? We have Katie nominated. All right, we'll close nominations and we can vote.
And I have 7 for Katie, for vice president.
Congratulations, Ashley. All right, treasurer. Need to open nominations for treasurer. Are there any nominations for treasurer?
Nominate Chuck.
Thank you.
I'll second it.
All right, that'll be my second time. Are there any other nominations? And a third time. Any other nominations for treasurer? We'll close nominations.
And 7 for Chuck for treasurer.
All right, congratulations, Chuck.
Good job. Yahoo.
Yahoo!
All right, we'll open nominations for clerk. Are there any nominations for clerk?
Sure.
All right. Are there any other nominations for clerk? We have Amy nominated. And one more time, any other nominations for clerk? All right, we'll close those nominations. And you can send them to me. Amy can't count her own. And the winner is Amy with 7. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay. I think that's all the stuff, the new stuff we have to deal with. So that takes us into the approval of the minutes of the March 17th, 2025 regular meeting. Is there a motion to approve? That Katie?
Second.
Okay. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. That takes us to the payment of the bills. Gotcha. All right. Is there a motion, for the month of March in the amount of $968,530.55?
So moved.
Rini, is there a second?
I'll second that.
Chuck, any questions or discussion?
I didn't receive any questions, so I think we're good.
All right, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And then that takes us to the cash summary.
No questions on the cash summary. I did want to just kind of bring your eyes to looking at just the childcare, the tuition. We have been bumper. They're just full right now. Ramscare has been doing a fantastic job. So just wanted to say thanks to them. When you see a number like that, they're doing something really, really well. So other than that, nothing.
Okay, any questions? Right. Donations.
Yes, first of all, thank you to the Michaels Corporation. $2,400 for some of these tools, and you'll find out what some of the upcycling is. You can kind of look off to your right and see what upcycling looks like, but we'll hear a little bit more about that later. And then also, Mrs. Reed, congratulations with Donor Choose for building creative minds.
Thank you to our donors. So we need to appoint a member to the 2025 CISA convention, which is held May 14th, 2025. Is there anyone that would be interested in traveling to Green Bay to attend that? Last year, I don't think we sent anyone.
No, I went last year.
Oh, did you go last
Yeah.
year?
I think you went once, right?
I did.
The year before that maybe. It was up limited. I think there was also like, I think when we were talking about nominating somebody last year, we were under the impression that we had to, and I don't know what the punishment is for not, but most school districts had no representative even
Okay.
nominated. So.
So if someone has a burning desire.
Right, absolutely, then it's worth going, but I don't know that having somebody's name on the list and then having them as a no-show is worth it for them.
Sure. Sure.
I can't remember if it's seriously.
Yeah, there's no punishment for not going, so if no one can't make it, but if anybody wants to go, I did go this last year. So I'm happy to accompany somebody if they wanna go down and experience all that is to experience.
This is CSID.
Oh, this is the CISA one. Oh, yeah. I'd wanna add.
You were not there last year.
No, I wasn't there last year.
Being
Oh,
told.
yes.
But
Yeah.
the up was a hint.
Yeah, yes, down.
So, we'll just, pass on this one, and, if you decide to go, just let Kim know, and she can schedule it, but it's May 14th, so that's just coming up. Nobody wants to go, or we're allowed to do that. We'll appoint no one. Okay. Mike said we're not getting in trouble for it.
What are they gonna do, put us in CISA jail?
Now, Mike wants to talk about the 2026
Okay, that's-
WSB convention.
You don't have to go to that, but,
Okay, this is the delegate and
Yes.
alternate.
yes. And what you're doing there is helping write the resolutions for the WAS for the power.
So does anyone want to do that? It's an afternoon, down at Pfizer. Is that where it's at?
No, Baird Center.
Okay. There you go.
Couple though, right, isn't it like?
It's a couple days, but this is, this delegation gets together and they talk about different resolutions. I'd like
Right.
to do that.
Okay, great. Does anybody want to be the alternate? You want to back up? It's just Brian.
Yeah, I don't mind being an alternate, but I know I can't go, so it's kind of like CISA, yeah.
That's a couple of days, Jim.
It's a couple days, yep. So as we get closer, we can talk about, we usually drive down, I usually drive down for at least a day, there's some good things down there, so.
We get a huge packet of mail with the village and
Okay, is there a motion to appoint Brian as our delegate and we don't have an alternate?
so
So moved.
Oh, so Katie and Chuck,
Yes.
any other questions or discussion? All those in favor, please say aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Next, we have comments from the public, and tonight we have Stacy on here regarding the triathlon readiness.
As you may recall, I did previously raise some concerns about the triathlon that had happened last year, specifically about the safety and respect of the residents of the village of Random Lake and hopes for change in 2025. When I did contact you, I highlighted the problem of a table that was in the intersection in the driving lanes of a cul-de-sac. And I asked that any plan outline where that table would be and also where people would be stationed to inform oncoming traffic of the hazards that a triathlon brings. Part of that route this year, there is some home remodeling going on, so there's a lot of construction equipment. So I'm worried about the kids as well. The plan that came to the village board, it might not have been completed, but what I saw last Monday didn't have either of those items, so I was a little disappointed in that. My hope is that the plan includes detailed locations of where people are going to be stationed and ensures that there's not a table in the roadway unless that road is closed. And if the road is closed, obviously EMS, the Sheriff's Department is informed, and the local residents, not just on a Facebook post, because there are a lot of residents in that area that don't check Facebook every day. I would also ask that if the table does go on private property, just out of respect for the property owner, that they're asked for permission rather than assuming it's okay to put it there. Incorporating these details will help ensure that everyone's safety is demonstrated to the students and that they also understand respect, the importance of respect of the citizens and visitors of Random Lake. I know there's a plan to be presented tonight. I also know that it's informational, so the board can't act on anything, and I know you can't respond to my comments. But the reason I'm here tonight is my hope is that everything is fine, but if it's not, there is another board meeting on the calendar for May 18th, which is before the triathlon. So if there would be something that would still be out there churning, the board would have a chance to request that there be some follow-up and maybe an action item at that time. Thank you.
And that was the only public comment we had signed in. Did anybody else have any that didn't sign in, want to say anything? Okay,
Well,
that takes us to the referendum discussion. Mike?
okay, you do have an update. One of the biggest updates, look where we're sitting right now, right? You can see across the hall, books are being put in the shelves. There was a video on Facebook last week of our second graders rolling their chairs and their desks into the temporary room that's over here. So again, I sent an email today to the elementary middle school staff because Friday we're going to be cutting up plumbing in the bathroom down in this area that's now closed. Just reassuring what we're doing for air quality and all these other things. So we're coming towards the end. But as we're coming to the end, we're still changing, we're still adjusting, we're still moving, and people have been fantastic, just living with the punches here. So yeah, but it's getting more and more fun every day. We're exploring and seeing new spaces here.
Any questions? Rini or Chuck, any comments? Anything that is new for you guys?
I don't know what we did do a walkthrough, we got to see the new choir room under construction, the fitness center, and it's really exciting. And to get to be here tonight in this room,
Yeah.
the spaces are turning out, I think, probably better than I imagined in our planning. It's nice to see it finally happening. And I think one of the questions I asked at the meeting today was, what's the current end date? And I think that was
August 22nd is the date, but a month ago it was August 15th. So hang tight, right, on that, and we'll go from there. But the thing, I really feel like there's been some really smart rooms. Like this is our boardroom, but this isn't only going to be for the board. The way it's set up is just moving some chairs out and some tables. It's not. It used to be in the former library that was at least about an hour and a half to 2 hour setup to get tables and all the other things. We're really getting these spaces and making them flexible. The furniture we're using, the chairs, even though they don't have casters, I'm sorry. Everything is movable. So it's been really great just getting to explore these new spaces.
And this room is predominantly a student space,
This will be,
and
yes.
we get to share it with them.
Yes, yep. So this room, when the furniture comes, we'll hear about some of this. This is going to be a room that students can come to in middle school or high school, and will be a place that they can learn using their Schoology. Instead of having a sub in the classroom, they can come here and do that. So this is an overflow. It allows us to be flexible if we can't find individual subs for classrooms, and it'll all be part of this whole area.
It's also just important to note, we do a monthly review of expenses as we go through the referendum. Our contingency, I don't know, have the specific numbers, but we do run into problems, but our contingency fund is holding strong, and we are still, I guess you'd call it, on budget. In our plan, the way it's looking, we should have some money hopefully left over.
Great.
So, nothing too drastic that's happened.
They're planning for water, like tours for the community, anything like that? What's it-
We actually talked about it today. We are going to have a date in October 10th? 8th? It's a Wednesday, the first Wednesday in October. We're gonna reach out, do a ribbon cutting, do tours. We're gonna try to do kind of like a scavenger hunt so people can see the new spaces and do some of that. So we're gonna have some fun ways to let everyone see and also make sure they see all these spaces because we have new spaces in every corner that they get to experience. So yeah, no, we're already talking about that today. Right?
All right, thank you. Building reports.
All right, so, we're gonna jump around a little bit because there are some friends here tonight that want to highlight some of the great work that they're doing. So first off, I'm gonna start with Mr. Steve Wills and FBLA.
Okay, hi, I'm Audrey Williamson. I am a junior and I am FBLA's reporter.
And I'm Mackenzie, and I am a junior, and I am FBLA's secretary for the past 2 years.
Today we're here to ask you for permission for Mackenzie to go to NLC's National Leadership Conference. First, we want to highlight the success of FBLA this year. We've taken our members from 12 to 63 members in the past 2 years. We've also had a lot of students participate in Business Achievement Awards, which are awards through an FBLA website that you can learn about business ethics and other things like that, communication. We've also done champion starter, so champion chapter. So this is a prestigious award that our chapter can win by doing different FBLA activities each month, and you submit. So we are actually qualifying for champion chapter, right, which is the highest thing you can earn. And then highlighting regionals, we had 11 regionals attendees. 11 regionals attend. Hello, sorry. 11 people competing at regionals, and we had 4 qualified to state, which is the first time that has ever happened in FBLA history. And then at state, we had 1 person qualify for nationals, and that's Mackenzie.
Thank you. Yeah, so I've been working really hard since basically December. In FBLA, you get to compete in certain categories, and there's so many to choose from. One of my categories that I'm super passionate about is future business educators, because I feel like I have a career in education. So I've been working since December to create a lesson plan and teach it to judges who are pretending to be middle schoolers, and I put a lot of work into it. I've been practicing with my friends, my family, and my advisor, and I have this amazing opportunity to go to California and compete June 29th to July 1st, so July 2nd. So I am asking for permission.
And that's later on in the agenda for
Yeah.
So next up, wanted to have Mrs. Natalie Weeks talk about the Conservation Fair and the Envirothon.
Thank you. So earlier this month, yes, time is irrelevant. I took 4 students to the State Envirothon contest. It's used as an FFA CDE, but it's also used as a general science contest. And out of 24 teams, they placed 4th in the state. So that's a really, really big deal. This is the first time that I've taken a team. Because I've helped with the FFA team before, but this was the first one that I took. And in their group presentation, they placed 3rd, which was also very, very impressive. And they had judges coming up to them afterwards and saying what a good job they did. So I was really, really proud of how they did. We didn't lose anybody in the woods, which was amazing. And it really showed the individual strengths of the 4 students that I brought. So that was Xavier Johnston and Silas Schwabe, Spencer Rathke, and Maya Turnus. And they did a fantastic job with that Envirothon. They were really, really good stewards of our school. The other thing that happened this weekend was the Conservation Fair. So this is the 7th time I've held the Conservation Fair. This was definitely the biggest one. We had over 60 vendors this year, and estimated probably somewhere around 600 people come. I do a free giveaway at the door every year that I get grants for, and the 120 free giveaways were gone in 5 minutes. So there was a lot of people here. We do a trout fishing tank, and this year we had a boat fishing tank, and students painting kids' faces and selling raffle tickets. And I got so many compliments from just the public and vendors on how awesome all of the student volunteers were, just like painting little kids' faces and being generally helpful. And that was really, really great to see. So with that, we also helped raise money for the class of 2026 and 2027. They helped me with the food stand. So about $400 went to each of those classes. And with our raffles this year, we raised a little over $2,200. So that will help pay for the pheasant hunt that I take the class, or my class on every year. And then with the money raised from the actual vendor booths, that paid for the fishing rods that my students built this year. So they each got to make a fishing rod at no cost, which was a really big deal for a lot of the students. So yeah, it was a really successful event.
And then I want to turn it over to Mrs. Cindy Barber and Mrs. Debbie Poole to talk about what their upscaling class is doing.
Okay, so we created a new class this year, upcycling, in which I went around picking up free furniture along the road. And also we had some people donate furniture, and then we had the kids, they looked at the furniture, they did some research on Pinterest and other places on what could they do to either turn it into something different or just make it better. And so this semester, these are the creations that they have done. The students had to sometimes add things to it, like for instance, the blue dresser right here. They took the two drawers were not in good shape, so they removed them and they put in shelves. They maybe had to build on they used a drawer and built on the bottom for a plant stand, and then they did a lot of sanding, teaching them very much patience and that not everything comes fast or quickly. And then they painted or they stained, and these are the things that they created. And this Friday, if everything goes well, we're going to have an online auction during the For Kids Fun Night to hopefully auction these off and raise some money so that we can buy some additional tools, sandpaper and paint, and again, fund for this class for the upcoming year and for their final project, in which they will each be receiving 1 or 2 pallets, and then they have to turn that pallet into something, and that item they will be taking home. Do you have anything to add?
The kids work really hard. It's a group of boys. We have it's 14 boys and 1 girl or something like that. Yeah. And they work really hard, and these boys don't always have the most patience. So sanding has been a godsend to them. But they do overall work really hard. And we have some special needs students in there, so that's been a challenge for them. But between Debbie and Debbie handles most of the woodworking part, and then I handle most of the finishing, the painting and staining part. So that has worked out really, really well. So we could spend some more individual time with some of those students, and that's made a big difference.
So when is this auction,
Friday.
and it'll be online?
Yep, there'll be a QR code.
We hope to put that on the school's Facebook page.
Yep. Working with Sydney.
Great. When did they do the class?
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yep, during period 5 this semester.
All right, so for the rest of our talking points, starting out with strong classrooms, we have completed forward exams, which is 3rd grade through 8th grade, as well as sophomores, and our pre-ACT and ACT day went very well. We had 100% attendance for the ACT, and for the pre-ACT, we only had 3 that were missing. So phenomenal. The students did a phenomenal job, and so did the staff, being proctors in the schedule. 6th and 7th grade elective course selection is underway, so we'll be finishing up with that this week. And then 5th grade,
They'll be doing their band choir palooza. That's where they come in and they see the high school students perform for band as well as choir, just so Brandon and Nikki introduce what that's all about for the kids as they select whether they want to take band choir or both. And we try to encourage them to take both and experience it.
Awesome. And then for our strong culture, our admin team worked together and we figured out we were going to do a potluck to celebrate our administrative assistants and bus drivers. And Mike got beautiful cakes decorated for them. You may have seen the pictures on Facebook as well, but we had a great turnout, lots of staff, and it's really nice. We held it in that high school commons area, so everybody coming together and lots of fellowship, which is really wonderful.
Senior play was over Easter weekend under the direction of Mrs. Nikki Anderson, and it was a phenomenal play. The kids did an incredible job, so I hope everyone came out to see it, but it really was a great production. We have a couple fundraisers going on right now. We have Shoes for Africa that the high school NHS is doing, and we also have Grad Grams that Mrs. Weeks and Mrs. Donahue are also doing that as well. So feel free to, purchase a grad gram for that graduate of yours, Mrs. Ratke. You might want.
All right, and then moving on to strong community connections. This is that Bounce and Bingo May 2nd, coming up this Friday. It's going to be held in the Activity Center. This is in replacement for Family Fun Night. They are doing more work in the community, the 4Kids group, so they'll be telling us a little bit more about that in the fall of how they've incorporated and are building community, even in the community, which is exciting. So the bounce houses will be here out front, and the bingo will be in the Activity Center. So I hope everyone can make it.
Last week we had Lakeshore College come in and they did their VIP day. So that's where every senior has automatic acceptance into Lakeshore. And so we come and we issue them their certificates. So we did that this past Thursday, as well as the students were able to listen to their last ACP speaker as well, or alumni speaker, speaking about her profession. We've heard about the conservation fair. Now for the remainder of the student acknowledgements, we had state forensics qualifiers. So we had 4 students with that: Annabelle, Sabrina, Mackenzie, and Patrick. They did a phenomenal job under the direction of Mr. Travis Olson. FBLA State Conference are ladies that presented that. FFA Regional Career Development Event, we had 12 students participate in 3 categories. And then our Big East All-Conference Wrestling is in. So we had 2 students, first team All-Conference, Chase and Dylan. Seth and Cole were second team All-Conference, as well as Simon and Holton. And then Caleb and Nolan were honorable mention. So well done to all of our students with all the things that they're doing.
And I just want to thank everybody for coming in. If you remember a few months ago, we said we're going to try to change up the strong classrooms, culture, community connections, to actually hear from the people that are actually doing these things. And I don't know, I thank you ladies for coming in when we have students come in and share that. And thank you for everyone else for just sharing all this great stuff. So makes this even a little bit more fun doing it this way.
Yep, I agree. We like it, so keep coming back
Yeah.
and saying this.
And thank you for your leadership, everything you do and going above and beyond. It's nice to hear all these stories and what you're doing and how it's impacting not just our students, but our community as well.
Excellent.
Can I ask a question about the senior play? So it was great. I thought it was really, really well done. The kids had a good time with it. I'm wondering about the choice to schedule it on Easter weekend though. Like I feel like maybe we could avoid it was really just holiday. So I don't know, maybe it just was something that couldn't be avoided for whatever reason, but I think we need to try.
There were some conflicts, and we actually ended up moving it, and then we were trying to balance to the conservation fair. So this was an anomaly. You're right.
It was really good.
This was my first year ever going to the conservation fair, and I was just in awe when I came in and all the different, different things set up and all the kids, and it was just amazing. So I really think that is just such a draw to for the community to see our school and all the different things that is put together for that. So what a blessing it is to have you do that every year. So that's amazing. So.
Natalie, do you have a team that helps you coordinate? A lot to coordinate. It's just me and then my children that I guilt and such things. Wow, with 60 vendors and that's amazing. I mean, kids love going on side quests for me, so it's great.
There's a lot. I mean, how many kids do you have helping you when you
Probably through the day over 30.
Yeah, and such a great, opportunity for them to volunteer then too, right? I mean, it's just such a great thing that you put on every year. So thank you.
All right, that takes us into board committee reports. Board of canvassers. Who did that this year? Chuck. You just keep coming back up, Chuck.
Yeah, busy man.
Good job.
We got through it with the help of the direction of Kim. Everything came out proper and correct.
Excellent. Thank you for doing that. Because normally that would be you, Amy.
Yeah.
But since you were on the ballot,
Yeah.
you weren't allowed to.
It's sad. Yes. It is.
And policy committee met, and we will have some stuff here later on in the agenda. And then that takes us into the out-of-state travel for the FBLA, which we just heard the presentation. And so if somebody would like to make a motion to approve.
I'll make a motion.
Rini, is there a second? Amy, any questions or discussion?
I have a couple questions.
Great.
So, Steve, the letter that you sent said that you wanted to take along a maximum of 6 students and 1 advisor or parent. Is that still the plan? Because what I heard from the ask is for 1 student.
It's going to be 1 student. At the time when I wrote the letter to get it to the board, we opened it up for more people to go, and it's going to be 1 student. Again, his parent is going to be the person that's going to be taking the attendance to do that. And that is mainly for financial reasons. We're required to stay at the hotel that FBLA assigns us. And this way we can have 1 room as opposed to 2.
Okay. And how are you funding that? How is that student travel being funded? Because the letter talked about using the FBLA activity account, fundraising, and individual out-of-pocket expenses. So I was just curious how we do.
FBLA is going to fund the cost of registration for both Mackenzie and Community to go, and we will also pay for the hotel rooms to go. As far as travel to get there, that is going to be an out-of-pocket expense, and we're also going to try to do some funding.
Okay. That's all I have.
Great time. Good luck.
Yeah.
Yeah,
All right.
congratulations again. It's awesome. Very cool.
All those in favor?
I
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you for coming. Enjoy. Come back and let us know how it went.
Good luck.
All right. Next, we have the 2025 middle school triathlon presentation. How's that?
Austin was, had something come up and he come tonight. So he had asked me if I would come in his place. I'm working with him to put this together. Is there any way we can turn that? Okay. Well, while they're trying to figure that out, on here, there we go. Okay, so, I'll go through so anytime you see the orange, these are orange cones that will be placed out to mark that, that is part of the route. The, pink is that we have EMT or, people available there so that if anything would happen along the route, they are close by. We do have 2 people that will be going through the route all the way through with the swimmers, the bikers, the walkers, at least 2 that are following through. One will be the last person out of the water, the last biker, to make sure that we have everyone caught. Maybe not caught, but that we have everyone finishing. Anytime you see a little, it's like a little person, that is where we will be having a staff person or a volunteer along the route to assist anyone that might be having difficulty, or to make sure that they are going the correct route, that they are not off route. They will be starting here at the lake and swimming. The water, it's really hard to swim. They basically walk through the water, so it's not that they're going in deep water. There are lifeguards there. Then they go on their bikes. They go through the bike route. The yellow is, we're planning on having school buses there to block the streets. And the sheriff's department will be blocking the additional streets. And then they come back to the park, and then they take their walk around. And then we will be having popsicles and awards in the park before we take the buses back. Some changes that we have made is that we're having it in the afternoon rather than the morning, in hopes of some warmer weather. Are there any specific questions? There are water tables that will be various places also, so that they can have water if available, although we do encourage them to have water bottles with them too.
I just want to comment, I think it was a great idea to move it to the afternoon. That makes a lot of sense.
We haven't had good weather for the last few years, I think. So hopefully we get a little sun for.
And we're also holding it later, later. So the initial plan that Austin did present, that was in collaboration with Officer Meyer. So that way those 2 work on the different points that we have developed for the table. We'll have staff at those various places throughout the entire route. So we'll spread the staff out along with the volunteers. So like myself will be at the one table in the running piece. And like Stacy said, we'll make sure to be very respectful to move those tables off to the side, not be on people's property. If we need to be, we will definitely be speaking with them before we set that up.
Yep, we even, before we even leave the school, because we do walk down or ride the bikes down, before we even leave, we review the expectations on the importance of respecting people's property, that you stay on the sidewalk, that you even, we're not passing on people's lawns, you are on the sidewalk, we need to be respectful.
And the other thing I was gonna add too, so Austin, after presenting that, were you at the board meeting? When he presented it, he presented this and was able to speak through all the things he's doing, and after Stacy emailed me, like, why don't we put this on the map so we can actually have a concrete plan and what we're doing. So the biggest change from last week at the village board to now is, instead of just verbalizing, we had him actually write and put these things.
I think one other component too is that they've been in communication with the village of Grand Lake, and they'll have some barricades up, I believe, in some areas.
Yep. You can kind of see the barricades where they are planning, we're using barricades from the village.
So let me ask, is there a particular address of concern that has been articulated by the public tonight that isn't being addressed in this?
Can we put a human?
Yeah, do you mind?
Can we put a human here? Because right in this area is where there's a house under construction. And there are construction trucks that almost ran my truck over the other day. So if they can run over a trailblazer, they can run over a tiny human.
Was that your primary area of concern?
Yeah, right there. There's road construction right there. So, or not road construction, house construction.
Or all your other concerns.
Yeah, yep.
Appreciate your concern.
Goes here, Lee.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Debbie, for presenting.
And I just thank you to Debbie, thank you to Austin, and April had done this for many, many years. I don't even know how long we've been doing it, right? It's been going so long. And I think it was just in her head, right? So we've had some transition with this. Now our goal from this year is to type this up and have this be our permanent, so this is what it looks like every year, so always trying to get better every year with that, so. But thanks to Stacy too for helping us, continue to make sure that we're safe.
Alright, is there any thought of like, I mean, maybe you're advertising this already on social,
Even get elementary, how can we start doing some things, cause it's, if the weather's nice and we're getting, our students more active and out, we don't want them in the lake, but maybe they can do the walking part of it, or we can do some things, so.
Sure.
I think we wanna continue to grow this to be a really cool end of the year kind of event for our district.
Yeah, sure, Deb.
I'm just gonna add that, another change that we did with this year is if, we are encouraging all students to participate in some way. In the past, sometimes they had, that they didn't want to, like, be part of a team or something, but we're saying everyone can at least walk. So it might not be a team, but they're gonna be part of it. And then sixth graders are coming down to cheer them on, and we're ready for the sixth graders planning their teams for next.
good.
What is the date again?
Wednesday, 28th.
All right, well, thank you again, everyone. Next we have the achievement gap reduction update. Is that Mike?
Yeah, so, Sandy did provide the updated achievement gap, the AGR piece, and I know Katie, you had a question about how Act 20 and AGR, you wanna, I think Sandy sent you the response to that.
She sent me a response that just said Act 20. But it was kind of like, we can't really, it's hard to put it together because of the differences in Act 20 and the way it was done before. But my question's really like, so I guess I don't understand the form very well because so at the beginning of it, right, there's a header on the table, there's not a picture of the table, right, like, says, describe the formative and summative assessments used to evaluate the identified student's success in attaining the stated performance objectives. That says, describe formative and summative assessment. The response for that, for every single time, says exactly the same thing. Growth expectations are that students reach the end of year benchmark target score in their reading composite as determined by Act 20 by screening. But that's not formative and summative assessments. Like, I feel like we're not even answering questions in the column, so like, maybe that is how it's supposed to be. I just feel like it's kind of like copy pasted kind of part. But then my bigger concern about it is like the scores, right? So the math ones, right, stayed with the same thing. I don't know what it's called, first something, first glance or first. What's the Fastbridge, sorry. So, oh no, that's reading. Math is exact path. All right, so we've been on exact path, like that one didn't change what the assessment tool is. Right, so for the math scores then, my concern is that for kindergarten, math started out 22nd lowest quartile in the fall and then 40th, like 40% are in the lowest.
I have some feedback on that.
Great.
The math is not part of Act 20, but we found that the Ames Web screener is more sensitive to where the students are truly at. We didn't have Ames Web, the state wouldn't let us use it in the fall. We didn't gain access to it until January. So we still thought it was important to test their students to know where the gaps are. So that's why they did the Fastbridge and there isn't really a great, because exact path is all done on a computer, but with our like 4K kindergarten friends, that's not really a good indicator of how our students are doing. So it's actually proctored one-on-one with the student. So we go into the library, there's 8 proctors who bring the kindergartners in there in 4K, and we test them one by one. And we use the Fastbridge math screener assessment for that. That's why the numbers are kind of, we're in a very transitional year as we move to that new data system. Next year, we did get Ames Web for pre-K through 8th grade, so we have better data. And actually, it's really impressive with the trends that we're seeing from students getting these interventions and math pieces. But we we just didn't have a really great way of assessing it this year because we were in such a transition.
Can I ask what the implications are? Is this just internal data? Is there any external use by the state or anything with regard to these test results, or is this just simply internal use?
This is, once it's presented to you, that's about as much review as it has. So with this year in being transition of, it's never great to do repeated measures, a survey and do two different assessments, right? But with how not having an assessment in fall, having the new assessment, we just decided, you know what, this year's gonna be what it is. We want to get to our new environment as quickly as possible. So that's where some of the difficulty, even Sandy, to write this up, because the tests are changing. There's just a lot going on this year. So I think that's where some of this is not as clear as it has been in the previous years.
But in the report for kindergarten, isn't it saying that fast path or exact path was the fall test and it was also the winter?
Yeah, so the bridge one, Fast Bridge and Ames Web, it's all listed under reading, not under math. The math is all listed as being this exact path. So it didn't change the math in this.
I would have to look, I know I'm thinking testing. Fast Bridge and the other two. We are seeing them because we have exact path is a way to fill gaps with students to administer a screener for exact path as well. Because then from there, the students can run these gap filling skill quests, I would say, and they're trying to fill in those gaps. So all students probably, an exact path does go down to kindergarten. They may have administered it to get that data to move forward. It'd be nice if the report reflected. It seems like it's still not showing what actually is going on because the numbers are pretty alarming. It looks like the students are not improving, but their skills are becoming less. So I don't understand. Maybe I'm not reading it right. Maybe it's the report, but it just doesn't seem like it's giving that accurate pulse of what's going on.
And if it is, it's concerning.
Well, we're switching in like kindergarten, for example, we're switching to elements for math because I agree with you, there's definitely some areas that we can grow.
So, I mean, maybe it's something that you can do, like, I don't know how much this is stuff that guys all talk about all the time or anything, but like, from what you said and what the report says, it feels like the difference is, like, that maybe the report's wrong in some of the things that it's saying, so.
I don't know how much more time I want. I mean, if it's something that's a directive of the board, I'm fine with that. This is, as we're going through some of this,
So this never goes anywhere, like, it's not DPI, so DPI says that it has to be filled out and shown to us, and that's it?
Yeah.
Is that for us to get the funding?
What's that?
Is that for the funding?
Right, it has to be shown to the board for funding. So yeah. If we want to go back and have, because there should be the end of the spring semester. So we'll have this one more time. So we can take that and make sure that it's communicated to Sandy how we're using different assessments as well. So.
And when you say the funding, specifically for what are we referring to?
So AGR is, it used to be called, what was it before? Sage. It helps us reduce our class sizes by doing this. We have to, and how much do we get a year from Sage? 130. It helps defer the cost for reduced class sizes. But with Sage was old with Act 20, there's just so many different layers to this. It's just made it difficult to live in two different worlds. Now, when we get to next year and we have common assessments, we have all the things that we're implementing this year, I think it makes it a lot easier. So we're just in a transitional year. But we can, but spend some time with Sandy on this and make sure that this has all the different assessments.
Well, I mean, if it's not anything that's gonna change the student outcomes, I guess I'm not sure that's that big a deal. I just feel like the outcomes look bad, right? And so
Right.
something that can accurately reflect how we're doing to help our students achieve the goals that we have. set.
Are any of the other indicators showing this decline? I mean, is there anything else that we should be looking at that prove to us that this is inaccurate, I guess?
Yes, I talked to the Edmonton Exec Ed people on Friday, because I wanted them to know that their assessment is trending 20% higher than what we're actually seeing. Because, for example, they would say that 40% of your students are at the 20%. And then, or sorry, 20% of your students are at 40%, 25%. But then when we did the Ames one screener, we're like, oh no, it's actually 40%. So that allowed us to do more diagnostic testing to figure out exactly where the skills are that our students have gaps in, and then we can adjust them through interventions. So Act 20 I actually think is really good. I'm gonna go on record saying that, but it's allowing us the assessment tool Ames Web is so good. And, you know, we can see kids that need help and get them the help that they need quickly, so that we're not having gaps in learning.
And we're sunsetting Exact Path into this new one. We just didn't have anything at the beginning of the year because the state was behind. So it's again, build it as you fly it type mentality with this.
I don't know if this is relevant, but
Yeah.
we're buying this new curriculum, correct? It's gonna be continuous from the whole curriculum, from, is it
Pre-K,
4K?
yeah.
Pre-K,
Through
all the way
fifth grade
through?
and elementary math,
Okay.
but the ELA will just through eighth grade.
Is it logical to believe we think that'll have a very positive impact on these scores and how we're assessing
Absolutely.
going forward, once we get acclimated to that, and we keep that same program for hopefully a couple of years going forward? Instead of, seems like we've been doing a lot of transitioning the last couple of years.
Chuck,
Try
I
to
would even
find-
say it's happening already. I'm having meetings where a child might have been class in the past, identified for special ed, and these parents are like, no, my kid is reading. My kid is sounding out words. This is so exciting. Like we're making progress. And honestly, I think it's because the teachers are implementing to Fidelity. We are finding out where those gaps are. We're addressing them in the small group, and there's this continual improvement of like, hey, that they have that skill. Let's go on to the next one. It's really exciting to see them changing. So I know it's happening already. In our math in the fourth grade, we had gaps at the beginning of the year for skills, and now all of them are almost all at grade level, which is exciting.
And Becky, we were talking today, this new curriculum. So we've been spending the last years building the foundation of how we teach, that we teach as a grade unit, not as individual teachers. We've been building all those things. Now this curriculum is actually allowing us to partner with our parents and say, hey, here are the actual specific things your child needs to work on to help them in these interventions. Like all that stuff is all spinning together right now. So I think between technology, the brain-based science of the curriculum that we have and where the staff are, the next 3 years are going to be very exciting. So,
Can you just identify the name of this curriculum we bought?
so CKLA
CKA.
and the core knowledge,
Language. Yeah, I'm not sure.
yeah.
We always
like
used to
that.
call that together.
But it's impacting us in a lot of, so reading used to be taught through parables and stories and poems and all those other things. Now we've transitioned to using nonfiction as our vehicle to teach reading. So it's really given us some exciting things. So now our students, instead of reading a parable, are actually reading about scientific facts, social studies, and we're finding ways that now students are doing that. We're integrating that time into our social studies time, into our science time. And there's a lot of really exciting things that Becky and I think we're all doing. We're really looking at how this is going to impact all the things we do in reading. And it's helping social study. I've always felt social studies should be taught through the lens of reading because you have to read to capture social stuff, science, all those things are happening.
So as you look at this, the data that's been presented, it's very close to uniform distribution where 20-some% fall into the 25th and below category. My question is this, have you done analysis around, that subset of people that are scoring below those averages? Are there some commonalities in those populations? Is there an ELSL issue? Is there a learning disability issue? So have you done analysis around those commonalities, and are we gonna be prone to these similar numbers, even given the new approach that we're taking to, the education model?
I'm glad you asked. So I would say in reading, we're getting there. We're closer than in math. With math, we haven't fully implemented it yet. In the reading, what we were able to get down to, do they know letter names? Do they know letter name sounds? And every little building block, you can't build the house without the basement, right?
Right.
So if they don't have those building blocks, we're able to get skills groups down to that knowledge. We can tell our students that might need special education depending on the trend line for how they are, because we monitor weekly now. For our students that are below that 25th percentile. And then bi-weekly we believe that there, and Jamie, if she was here, could speak to it too. There's a group from the 25th to the 40th that you want to keep doing bi-weekly progress monitoring with them because they're not there yet. And so with all of these interventions that we're doing with the classroom teacher, with Title I, with special ed, we are filling those gaps. And as far as trends, I think we're seeing it shifting. We have a new data warehouse that we're using called NextGap. That's how we send out our letters to parents. I see everything's moving up. And maybe that's what I should share next meeting, is some of the progress that we're making from the spring screener. Also, interestingly enough, the AIMSWIP that we administered in March is based on end of year scores. So the state is working on that as well. So even though we have kids that are scoring at that 25th percentile, this would be the end of first grade. And first grade is such a transitional year anyway. They start with just reading words. Now there's those long paragraphs. So there's no visuals, and it's just oral reading fluency, how fast they can read and read accurately. So we're getting there. In math, I would say it's something we're still working on. We're partnering with CISA this summer to do a deeper dive into interventions for students that are below that 25th and probably support. Bridges does have an intervention system. They actually test kids, and it says, okay, here's where they're at. Unit 1, Module 3, this is what you need to work on with that. It's that precise, and we're really able to grow those little brains and get all that information in. It's exciting.
That's great.
Yeah, I love it.
All right, well, we'll look forward to seeing better.
We will have better data in the future, that's a
Yeah.
promise. Next path, we're all the way down to dashboards on individual students where you can pull up a student and see what's their attendance, what are they proficient on, what are they advanced, what are they struggling. We're down to that level of being able to instruct and see where students are. So,
All right.
yeah, it's
well,
been a transition year like no other, I will tell you that.
All right, we'll see better data.
Yes,
Well, we
that
want-
is a promise, that is a promise.
Okay, so next we have to approve the Wisconsin School Nutrition Purchasing Cooperative that we've been involved in. It's a 660301 agreement. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Chuck, is there a second?
Go ahead, you guys.
Chris?
I already did.
Oh, you did.
That's what Amy wrote.
Amy,
That's what Amy wrote.
I'm closer to her.
Yeah.
Any questions or discussion? All those in favor, please say aye. Opposed? Motion carries. So this is where policy we met, and the first one is the technical corrections that Mike and Kim and our Sherpa. Richard, the
Yes.
Sherpa, went through, and those all look good. So we're just FYI-ing you on that. Then next, we had the other packet that had a bunch of other policies that were updated or reorganized or whatnot. And we had several that we thought we could go through for single reading. I think there was only one that we wanted to pull out for, item 19, which would be first reading, and that would be, policy 5411, third grade promotion and retention at-risk students. So, Katie, I know you had some questions on some of the other policies. Do you have any thoughts on the single reading? The committee came up with all except that one for single reading, meaning that we could vote on those tonight.
I don't think so. I mean, I guess I'd like to ask more questions, but I don't know if there's anything that can't just be answered. So
Okay,
that
because,
means
I
that
mean,
single reading, maybe we don't talk about it.
no, we can talk about whatever we want to talk about. Just that, did you get Richard's explanations for your questions? Oh,
Yeah, so we just need to go through.
okay, well then, all right, you have this. Here, why don't you have my copy? And, you can go from there and let us know what you want to let us know.
So the response is in bold.
Right.
Underneath there. So Katie had some questions on some of these, single, policies. And mostly the answers were, it's the way the state law has it written. So we really can't change that, we want to keep it word for word.
Neola's been really working on cleaning up their policies from redundancies. So they're mentioning it multiple times. Did you say that already?
No,
There were so many
that's right.
meetings, so I'm sorry,
That's what
sorry.
I'm saying. You're
Um,
right. That's
So they're going through now, instead of just making sure we're covered, making sure all the policies are covered in one spot. They don't need to be covered in a second spot, because that just makes it difficult with policies if it's stated in two different spots. So, that was some of the questions. There's some other good questions. So as you're looking at any of these answers, we can do however we want to with the way we do this is, we have the technical corrections. Those were just updates and dates and things like that. We can do first reading, and then we can do second reading. So we can, handle this any way we want to.
Are you asking me about handle it? I don't,
Okay,
I'm not
any
even sure I
questions?
understand what he wrote back. So, how do you even say this word? Pecuniary? Pecuniary?
How did you, I thought you had it right before when you said it.
I mean, so I get it, whatever, I guess that's what it says in the law, and he's saying like, why would we change the language from the law, but why are we putting words in there that nobody even knows what they mean, that seems silly. But whatever, I got it. But the other part of that one that I had questions about, and that, like, I guess I only skimmed with the throat, but so originally it said, conflict of interest would arise when the employee, officer, agent, any member of his or her immediate family, his or her partner, an organization which employs or is about to employ any of the parties described in the section has financial interest, right? And now it says, in which that person, a dependent of the employee, or so a dependent of the employee to include an employee's spouse, unemancipated child, stepchild, or adopted child under the age of 18, like it's wiped out most of their family. Right, like, so if somebody's dad has a business, it feels to me like there's a conflict of interest there, right? Like, why are we all of a sudden just making it kids who aren't even old enough to vote yet? That could be.
Well, it's also not all of a sudden, it seems out there, these were changes already made in the other two policies that are very similar. And this is no mission. So it's fixing that. So it is in the other policies. I know it doesn't necessarily answer your question.
It's that I missed it when I went through that time or something.
But we haven't done that.
Oh, is it later?
I don't know,
Oh, yeah.
just saying.
No, these are already.
These are ones we've already.
Right.
I guess this one we haven't done, but one that we already did. That one. Right, Kim?
3230 and 4230 are almost mirror images of 1130. They're in different groups because some address support staff, some address professional staff, some are just a broader policy, which is the 1130.
and this was not caught or was omitted when they did the other.
I agree with you that I don't like how some of the language changed. I think some of them are more confusing to read, but I guess that's the legalese. So I didn't like some of the changes, but I guess I just understood that that's what the state statute says, so we have to.
We want to make it as conclusion.
Right, yeah.
I can only imagine what it's like to sit in this room with 30 lawyers who are going through all this stuff and are really excited about some of these things and having these conversations, like, whew. But yes, I get a headache when I'm doing this.
Yeah, I don't mean to be that guy like I usually am, but, I just have a question, if I can we ask a question about this one that we got pulled up now? Just for clarification. In, the 34-1, subparagraph, 1100, it talks about the superintendent seeking board approval for any changes, any revision to the district's administrative organizational structure. And that's the fourth paragraph down. This is on page,
In this policy?
yeah, it's very top. Very beginning of 1100.
Oh.
It just seems to me
A
that,
different policy?
oh, this is it. There you go.
This is a different policy that we're talking about.
Oh, I'm sorry, I thought we were talking about the one that was pulled
We're
up.
on 1130, one right below.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean, so my question's on 11:30, I guess, I get, I have the question, but I'm not.
Now you have a question on 11.
Yeah, sure, sorry, we gotta go backwards. So it talks about any revision of the district's administrative organizational structure. So we're talking if there's a reduction in staff, like, administrative support, I mean, that's the way I interpret what's being said. Administrative organizational structure, do we define that somewhere? That's how you would interpret that? Somebody who deals with, an administrative professional, or, I'm just saying, that's pretty broad. And, I'm not sure I understand exactly what the implication is. I mean, the way I read it is we're supposed to approve, if we want to add administrative professional in one of the offices, or if we want to reduce a support staff of any way, shape, or form, that's what that says.
And it's about administrators, so should be Susan, Becky, or myself. That's the way I would read that.
I'm just saying it says administrative. And so it doesn't say administrator. And that's all I'm saying, and it can be interpreted as,
Are you talking about the second paragraph, the green ad there?
The fourth paragraph is talking about the green arrow at the bottom.
administrative is anybody who types on a computer or supports, I mean, that's the way I interpret the word administrative. So I think some clarification needs to be done. Just, that's all I'm saying. And then I'll shut up.
There's a whole definition part that, I think if we'd go back to administrator in the definition of a policy, it would give you the definition of an administrator. We can get that, definitions and show you, there's a whole part of our policy that has definitions of all terms.
Well, so administrative positions would just be administrators, not also administrative assistants and stuff like that. And also I feel like we do actually weigh in on whether we're replacing staff. So I'm not sure it's contradictory to the term. Where we do that, is it?
I read that as administrators. If we were going to add another administrator, that would be something that I would want to come to the board too.
Yeah, but if you're gonna add another secretary.
Secretary,
to the
no.
board, so I guess that's what.
Cause I would think everybody underneath administrator would be referred to as staff in our policies.
Support staff.
Yeah, I'm sorry, professional staff, support staff, yes. But I'll add the, I'm not sure where the definition, is there a definition page? in- Yeah, what's that?
000.
000. What is it? Do you have it up?
Does not have administrative in there.
It doesn't?
No.
Oh, of course.
Administrative for,
Oh, okay.
but it does not have administrative. Only administrative means administrative guidelines.
These paragraphs specifically talk about the district administrator, but also as the administrative head of the school district. And the way I define administrative, it's all the administrivia that takes place at an educational institution. So it also addresses assistants and much regarding the computer. So I'm just saying, there's some ambiguities there. If you mean the leadership team, administrators that supervise, I'm all for that, but that's not good.
Look at the definition of professional staff member, administrative assistants are listed over there as assistants.
Do you want to pull up the policy? And pull up the definition, yeah, the definitions policy.
Is that really fast? Because I can say something to get rid of one other one. But, because I had asked this question about the open enrollment thing, and I think his answer is really fine. So,
Oh, the one with having to read the IEP? Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
so my concern is gone for that one, because of, you know. And my concern is gone probably for the one about that, because I thought that this was talking about that those people would be ineligible for like health insurance. So I didn't realize that this 4124 was only talking about
Unemployment insurance, yeah.
So I no longer concerned about that. But everything else I had was in the home department. Right,
The,
it's 411.
yeah, the third grade, 5411, yeah. So now we just have this current one, the administrative.
Just read, can you read the administrator, the definition of an administrator?
Policy and administrative guidelines, administrative may apply allocation of responsibilities as appropriate to staff.
So we have 3 staff members that have administrative contracts.
This is good, right? Not more.
Yeah, it says of the administrative.
An employee who is employed with an administrative contract.
Does that help with clarity?
If everybody else thinks so.
I just think it is what it is. You know, most of this, it's like, really, what are they trying to say? Can't we be a little more clear, but.
I don't think so, Mike, but I'm not gonna, it's not enough to follow myself. If somebody asks me to vote yes, I'll vote yes.
So you want to make that motion?
No,
I'll make a motion.
Greenie?
To approve,
Okay. Oh, but
but the.
5411.
Yes, the 54.
Okay, is there a second to that? Katie, any further questions or discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And then that takes us to 5411. Number 19 on our agenda is a first reading then. So we will come back next month for a second reading and a vote.
Perfect.
So do we, like, discuss that this time or we discuss it next?
Well, you can, if you wanna throw out what you're thinking here, that'd be great.
Have the responses to that one.
I do, but I haven't actually read his responses to this one yet, so I don't know if that's, you guys have read it though, right? So if I,
Yeah, go ahead and read it to the group doesn't.
okay.
Yeah, give it
Want
to
it
us.
with my questions?
Yeah, start with your question.
That's. So the definition of the word completed, saying means a student who has completed their personal reading plan. I don't feel like using a word to define the word, it's like going to do things, but, it says, student has completed their personal reading plan if the student's parents and the district agree that the student has met the goals outlined in the personal reading plan and the student scores at grade level in reading on a summative assessment. And so then, I guess I don't understand, like, if a student scores at the grade level on a summative assessment, why would their parents and the district need to weigh in on whether they met their goals? Like, it feels to me like.
I'm glad you asked. This is all part of the new Iowa funding law.
Okay.
So that's where that screener comes in, and then any student below that 25th percentile, we were required to write a reading plan for them. We had students that just, like, they were fine in, I believe they said an exact half the ball, now dipped, so we're writing a reading plan for them. We do a diagnostic, it shows like there's some error, like there might be some gaps, so you put them on a reading plan. They do this intensive intervention, they rise above that 25th percentile, now they no longer need that reading plan, but they might go into a different intervention. We're required by law now to develop a reading plan for any student that is below the 25th percentile. And, kindergarten.
And in 2027, if that student hasn't risen above the 25th percentile, there's ways that we can promote or not promote. And the one that's highlighted here is, and that's why we're holding on this, is this was the conversation. What happens if the district is recommending to not promote and the parent vehemently disagrees and wants the student promoted? And the question that we have, we're gonna go to Richard, is I wasn't sure, and Becky, if you know this or not, is that language that's taken right from the law, or is that Neola's interpretation of that? Because the question was, if we're recommending no promotion, should we have parent voice in this? I was comfortable with this, but I think that was part of the discussion with this.
It was my understanding that it could be determined by the district, but they needed to be aware that a student could not be promoted. That's how I was reading it, or that there needs to be a subsequent plan in place, or that student moving forward. In that case, it might be like special ed referral. We're not gonna,
Not.
right.
So that was some of the information we're gonna get and then bring back. for
Well,
next.
he partly answered that, I think. Yeah, right, so he said the decision whether to promote a student or not lies entirely with the district, but this scenario, so what a parent would insist, explains that the district may promote because a parent insists, which is one of the 4 scenarios outlined. We may never do it, but it's one of the 4 possible options that could theoretically happen. Details of how the decision is made, who is involved, various criteria would be would be in the district's implementation plan for this policy. Do we have implementation plans for a bunch of policies? That's after the, so I guess I can see that some schools might let the parent insist and then go ahead and promote, but if we don't intend to ever do that, it feels like saying that's one of the options for promotion is. What parent isn't gonna be like, no, I don't want my kid to go through that, right? Even if academically, everybody that's involved in that student's education thinks that it's better for them to be held back. A parent isn't gonna ever want to see that happen to their kid, right? So it's socially, it's rough, right? There's all sorts of things that can make that difficult, so having those,
I guess the piece why I liked it in there, is I think we always have to be partners with our parents, right? We're doing more and more to be transparent, to share what we're doing, inviting our parents in to see. And then to say, well, we're holding the end, at the end. I think we should, whatever it comes down to, we should find agreement. And we haven't had many times in my experience that we've been in different places. It does happen. And this policy gives parents that last right if we don't agree. I can be comfortable with it, especially in this world where I think, I think sometimes schools show that they know more than parents, and I think that's a dangerous place to ever be, right? So that's what the way I would look at it, but I think there's different ways you can look at these things. And for every kid, there's a different reason, right? Like it is. I like policy that gives us ways to be flexible.
yeah,
So-
every situation has a million different nuances. right?
Yes, yeah.
So you have some questions that you'll be asking Richard, and then those will hopefully we'll have answers for next month.
Yeah.
And we can bring this up again.
Good time to even reflect on this. I think it's
Yeah.
good for the admin team to just kind of, are we comfortable with this, like this? Do we want to tweak this, or do we want to change this? So, yeah, we'll bring it back again next month.
Okay. You can, review that again, Katie.
Sounds good.
Okay, so first reading, we're good on, what was that, 5411. We'll have some more things next month. We have another continuation here. Oh, this is the co-op for the girls soccer. Is there a motion to continue that? This would be a 2-year renewal. Katie, is there a second?
I'll second.
Chuck, any questions or discussion?
Everybody seems to be pretty happy with the progress they've been made, and we don't have enough students to have our own soccer yet, correct?
Amy, any thoughts as a parent in this situation?
I think it's a good thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's what I want to be here.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We got a case study right here,
Yeah.
right?
Want to know
Yeah.
it's working.
The girls are all getting along really well.
Great. All right, all those in favor, please say aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
We'll need your signature on that before you.
Over here somewhere, yeah.
Yep.
We
All
don't
right.
have any for
No, none for 21?
Okay.
Woo, moving right through. Approval of new professional staff. We have Madeline Rue, 4th grade, and Ann Thomas, middle school mathematics teacher. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Chuck, is there a second?
Second.
Brian, any questions, discussions?
I think we feel fortunate for both of these. These are replacing, veteran staff that have been here many, many years, and, we have 2 really quality staff coming in to replace, so.
Do we know why the mechanical engineer wants to teach?
I was just thinking that. Wow, that might be an intense class.
She already kept math in middle school, just took a step
Yeah.
up.
She had to take a year off to raise her children, and then she decided that she really enjoyed teaching after having her own family, and then that's where she went there.
Thank you for that explanation. Makes sense.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Informational items. We have,
Yeah, a
Girl
couple
Week.
of things here. First of all, one of the things we like to do, and we always do it in April, we have a drill week. So we do a fire drill, we do the tornado, it also coincides with the severe weather awareness week. And then we do active threat on that same week. We do that on purpose because we want students to get into the drill mindset and not, when you do, especially the active threat on its own, everybody thinks about, oh, when this happens, when it's part of a drill. It's something we've done every year here for the last few years. This was still an internal, active threat drill. Next year, when all construction's done and we don't have all the things around, we will be taking the next step on that. But it was very successful. Thank you very much to Officer Meyer, for running that, and both the principals for making sure that was, successful. The next thing is our board retreat is May 12th. Please get me your topics that we would like to talk about. We'll be at the bog, so as you think about different things we want to chat about, we'll have some of our end of the year review. We'll talk about just successes, positives, opportunities for growth, and talk about next year. There's some really cool things that the admin team and others we've been really putting together for what do we look like now that we have new facilities, and how we're going to take that next step with some really cool things. So looking forward to bouncing those off of our team here and then getting the okay so we can, what I love to do is give a little bit of a precursor as staff are leaving for the end of the year and kind of say, hey, when you come back, these are gonna be some of the things that we do next year. It gives them a little bit of time to think about it. And so we have another opportunity that, first of all, I would like to congratulate Chuck for being on the village board. And this, his being, what do you say, elected on? How would we say you are right now, Chuck?
Well, it'll officially happen, I think, at the next meeting, but I'll be voted on, I believe, is the,
Yeah.
is that proper? Yeah, appointed. Yeah.
So you've been nominated at this
Been
point?
nominated and,
Okay.
yes.
So with this, and nothing's official yet, there's two things. Having our board meeting on the third Monday has not allowed me to go to some important village meetings at times, things I'd like to be able to support, to go and do that. And we're wondering if this is an opportunity to better align what's happening with the village and us by switching to the fourth Monday of the month. Also, this helps because in June, we will be traveling over to Luxembourg, and I was gonna ask the group to move to the fourth Monday in June anyways. So just wondering if there's any thoughts on that. We know there would be a transition. Is there a time we want to look at that? I don't think in our policy, and especially with how it's written with the new technical corrections, are that we have to have a board meeting once a month. You know, there was a time Stacy asked about resolution and all that other stuff. That language has been cleared out of it, and we just have to hold a meeting once a month, so we have that flexibility. Any thoughts on if we were to move it to the fourth Monday of the month? Thanksgiving, Christmas might kind of impact some of that. We'd have to adjust maybe December. Spring break might get adjusted depending on what it is, but other than that, we already do this meeting the fourth Monday, because of canvassing and things like that.
I think the fourth Monday of May would be a problem because that's Memorial Day.
Yes,
So we'd have to do something there.
so keep it the third Monday in May.
I don't think December, that's the 22nd, which we've had meetings that late before. Not that. Right, not that.
Yeah, I just,
When it's the 25th.
The 25th will be fine.
we'll take a look at the schedules and see what they show.
And the second
I think
Monday
it's
is
both
too
you, Fred.
soon for financial.
We could do the second, but, there's some committee meeting.
Yeah, I was told that a lot of the committee meetings happen on the second Monday of the month usually. I'm not sure what committee, I have an idea what committee I'll be on, but I'm not sure committees.
The other thing to think about is what are the other school, municipalities, right? Because you might have an interest in these will come from.
Right, and I've been, when is Sherman's? Cause I've been to theirs, I've been able to go to those. I don't think it's Mondays though.
I think it's probably Wednesday.
Yeah, I think it's, first Tuesday, okay. 'Cause- Yeah, exactly, what, yeah.
So, how about if we just leave it at the fourth Monday
Okay,
and just make sure we're checking?
right,
So, but for May, we should leave it at the third Monday because of Memorial Day. So, so maybe we add that as an agenda item, just so that we don't forget, like, what is next month's meeting date? Can we do that?
Just kind of as a reminder.
Right, right, that, the plan is to be the fourth Monday. But because it's our first year doing it and, yeah,
yeah, we'll start in June, and then
That's
we
not
will, in July,
reasonable.
we'll have the dates, we'll get them on your calendar, so that way they're out on the calendar, so we can look at it.
just scrolling through, I think it should be fine, except for the May one, but,
Some of us made summer travel plans around the current schedule, just so. you know.
What?
I apologize.
It's all gonna work out in the end.
It'll all work,
Yes. It'll work out. We'll let you phone it. Yeah,
Yeah.
gotta be flexible here. Okay, that's the end of that, so, we have a closed session?
Yep.
So the board will go into closed session as permitted under Wisconsin State Statutes, Chapter 19, Section 1985, 1C, to discuss a personnel matter. We will be taking action after closed session. But this requires a motion to go into closed session. Is there a motion? That's Chris and Katie. It requires a roll call vote. Oh, Brian,
Yes.
Katie, I say yes. Amy? Yes. Chris? Chuck?
Yes.
Reading? Okay, we are in closed session. Okay, is there a motion to approve the Diana Lee's resignation?
Make a motion.
Chris, is there a second?
Second.
Brian, any questions or discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Rainey, is there a second? Katie, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Whoop, whoop.
Nice.